Alright, so today we going to paint this dining room chair. We're going to use a chalk paint. We're going to go with a navy color. This is actually a Dixie Belle navy. This is a chalk paint. I'll open it up. And the Dixie Belle chalk paint is made here in Florida, so it's a local product. And it has the no VOCs, safe to use. Kind of get a nice look. The navy color, and this is what we're going to spread across this chair. Couple of other items. There's actually 3 other chairs just like this one that we're going to paint. We're just going to do one right now. We're actually going to put this color, it's a driftwood, which is going to go on the actual table that these chairs will complement. And then I'm also going to show you how to use the spray water bottle. Along with these paints, you can use water along with spray, along with the chalk paints. A couple of brushing options. I'm probably going to use this brush, a little more comfortable with this one. It's just a basic brush. And then you also have a lot of people like to use these brushes here, traditionally used for chalk paint. And then when it's all said and done, I am going to clear coat it with a polyacrylic. And I like to use this brush here. This is actually, the brand is called Zebra. It's an angled brush. It's nice, straight and smooth. Leaves a great finish. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, on this chair itself, I've already sanded it down. I took 120 grit sandpaper. I went across and took all of the clear coat and the shine off every piece. I went through every spoke here. Went on the top, took the shine off. If you don't take the shine off, the chalk paint, it will tend to start chipping off. And way to avoid the chipping is you just simply cover it with a clear coat and then you have it done with. Alright, so let's start adding some paint in. So I'm going to start loading my brush. I'm going to try to get the paint off of the lid here. So I like to go thin layers. Just try to get a coat on. I like to put at least 2 coats of a paint on. That way we get a nice finish. In this first coat, we are just trying to cover some material here. Kind of go on the inside. Try to do nice smooth brush strokes. And if you have like any imperfections that kind of occur on it, it's not a big deal. You can get that out with just a little bit of sandpaper. It's some fine 220 sandpaper, and you can work anything out. That. Now on these little more delicate parts here, I'm just going to put the chalk paint straight on. I'm not going to use like any water embedded in it. Just trying to get a nice smooth coat in here. And then just try to put this up here. When I dip, I'm just kind of getting just a little bit. And a lot of times I like to just kind of get it worked on there. You kind of start out a little bit small of a loaded brush, and you can work your way to a little bit of a thicker brush. Do remember that this paint is going to soak into the bristles of the brush itself. So over time, as you use it, there will be paint that's loaded inside of there that you did not have when you initially started. And again, just trying to get a nice, smooth coat. Nice little first layer. Make sure you always roll around to the back. Sometimes you'll get some runs. Chalk paint is actually a little bit thicker than your typical latex or acrylic paints. And so you won't typically get a run unless you add water. Go ahead and get the top here. I tend to be a little bit of an aggressive painter. I've been told my brush strokes tend to be a little hard. I'm trying to be a little bit lighter and smoother. Again, same thing I did in the front there is the same thing I'm doing here in the back. Our goal in this first coat is just to get some coverage. Light and smooth. Just want to cover up all of the old finish we have here. Thing I like to do is some people like to focus. You can focus on one. You can do the front and the back of one of these little runners back here. Not 100% sure what they're called. I like to just do the whole front side and then do the whole back side. So I like to work on a bigger surface. And again, same thing I did in the front that you saw me do, I'm doing right here in the back. Just trying to get as much of this white covered up. It is pre-sanded. I use 120 grit to pre-sand the clear coat. I also like using the 120 because if there's any, I mean, this is a used chair, so it's going to have some dinks and some marks on it. It just kind of helps give a nice smooth surface. It's like a brand new canvas that we're working with here. Now, chalk paint does dry fairly fast. Here in Florida, it's fairly humid. So depending on where you're at, depends on about how much time you might have. But as it starts drying, you might start getting some clumps. And so that might be one benefit of working on just one of these at a time, is that you're getting clear coverage and not creating any clumps. I'm going to kind of smooth out my areas in here. Sorry for the shaking camera. I put the tripod on the table and it's shaking as I'm painting. Try to go a little bit smoother here. As we paint this, we are located here at Let's Create Art. It's an art studio in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. It's in the Main Street shopping area. And their hours are typically 9:30 to 7 when they're open. The purpose of their studio is they teach people how to paint. We're getting some coverage on this part of the chair. Alright, so I'm gonna kind of work in the paint here on the surface, and I'm actually gonna add a little bit of water. So I'm gonna get a nice little chunk of paint here. Alright, I'm just gonna kind of start lighting that on, and then spray a little bit of water in there. And then you can see the spread begins just to spread so much easier. If you're working on a vertical surface, on this first coat, I'm actually gonna go both directions. I'm not that really concerned about brush strokes at the moment, because I can always come back in and do it like this. Give me a nice smooth surface. So I'm gonna add a chunk of paint here on this side. I don't have any paint on. Again, just gonna add in some water. I'm just kind of going across and smoothing it out. First coats, just trying to cover as much of the surface as possible. The second coat is going to be for a nice finish. Remember, whatever brush strokes you have, you can sand them out. Anyone who's a professional furniture person is going to tell you that any piece of furniture that you buy, they sand each coat so they get that smooth look. If you use a spray paint, you can get a pretty smooth surface as well with spray paint. But spray paint's just not cost effective. Very expensive. Just come around the rim here. About practice. Coming around over here on this side. Okay. Just about done with the rim here. Alright, so we got our top pretty much covered. This is our first coat. I'm trying to get some nice coverage on this old chair. A white and a wood. Very simple chair. Kind of adding in here some white that's showing in some areas. So I want to put a little bit more coverage in here. Getting ready to go down to the legs and cover the rest of this white. Alright. So let's go down to this area. Now the wood, I'm using a navy color. So again, this is the Dixie Belle. Color name is navy. I'm going to put it up here. Gonna have two cameras here working. The navy is a darker color. It's going to cover stuff pretty easily. I kind of felt like the wood covered a little bit easier than the white, but I did use the water. So I'm going to come in here. We're going to start covering this up. I'm actually going to let's put some paint on this. Dab some on. And I'm going to kind of show when you spray that water on there. Come around. Really helps you work it in. And you do get a little more of a smoother finish. That's why I use the water on that flat surface. That's where you really want as smooth of a finish as possible. Coming up on the legs here. Now, not all this white's being covered up right now, but most of it is. And that's our goal in this first coat. You can put this paint on thicker. Again, I don't like putting the chalk paint on too thick. You start seeing brush strokes. However, sometimes the style is like you're trying to give that shabby chic look and you're wanting some brush strokes added in. Again, this is one of the 4 chairs. I'm not going to video the other chairs. It's the same process. I like to do a coat and let it dry. I'll add another coat in with a lot more spraying of the water on the second coat. That way I get a smoother finish. Then after my second coat dries, and by the way, this paint can dry within 30 minutes to an hour. You can add another coat. Dries fast. But after that second coat dries, I like to smooth it out with a little bit of sandpaper. And then start working my clear coat. Again, I use a polyacrylic. Kind of hold it up. This is what I like to use on my clear coats. I usually do maybe 2-3 coats of clear coat. I also like to sand in between. When I sand my clear coats, I'll use anywhere between a 220 grit sandpaper to maybe a 3, something in the 300s. I don't like to go so fine as a 4. Maybe on my final finish of clear coat, do a 4. Looking for coverage. Now it does get tricky Because you have to start working down here. And there's these little spots underneath the chair that you just can't see from your perspective. Of being above, got a whole line of white down here. Alright. We've got this front leg here. I don't know if you can see in the video, there's these little brown spots. This is where the legs are connected to the actual platform, seat platform. I'm going to go ahead and color them too. I feel like if you can see it in the video, you're going to see it when it's finished. And we don't want that wood showing. Not on this piece. We want it to be a nice solid navy blue. That way it'll go contrast well with our table. Again, the table that we're going to do it in this kind of brownish gray color. This is called Driftwood from Dixie Belle. Get this going. We're almost done with our first coat. Alright, let's go to the back of the chair. We got these back two legs left. A little bit of the underneath area. And again, you can always spray water if you want a little bit of a thinner coat. I'm looking for coverage. So we're almost finished here. Again, we're at Let's Create Art. We're painting a dining room chair. Let's go ahead and do the inside here.
And then the expiration date? Maybe use. And then the 3-digit code on the back of the card. Just from back here.
Well, found some white.
Feeling right? Feeling zip code.
You really have to walk around the entire chair, look at every angle you can. There's so many spots in a chair. Chairs really do take a long time. The table will probably take as long as 2 chairs will take the paint. All these little bitty pieces and parts.
So we'll see what for, and I would not wear anything that you don't find.
Great thing about this chalk paint, because I just got a big clop on my arm.
We have little aprons.
Water and soap takes it off. Simple as that. Easiest cleanup. This is a non-VOC chalk paint, so if you have kids, safe. Hi, Kiana. You want to say hi? Hi. Speaking of kids, don't spray it. Don't spray it.
Why?
I don't need that side spray.
I know.
Alright, where are you going with my water bottle? Ah, we lost that one.
If I pick it up, I'm going to do it for you. And then you're not learning anything.
Now, we pretty much have most of this chair covered, it looks like. I can see a white spot here. I'm just going to kind of add in. Alright. So we've gone from white and wood to navy. This is our first coat. Our goal here was to get coverage. We're trying to cover the chair out in blue. That way we can prep it for that second final paint finish. I will probably paint another coat before I sand, and I will sand just a little bit before I put a clear coat on. If I sand anything down where wood is showing, I will probably go ahead and put on a third coat in some areas. These sections here are already kind of dried. They could probably go ahead and have a second coat. We're going to do that a little bit later though. Today, not on video though. And I definitely would recommend, sorry I'm finding some more white here as I'm walking around. I'll explain everything in just a second. All right, I think we're good. I think we got everything covered. So we got our first coat of paint. We're gonna let it dry. We're gonna add a second coat of paint. After that, light sand, 320 grit, maybe a 220 possibly in some areas, just to get a nice smooth finish. Then we're gonna add on this polyacrylic. The brush that I use for the paint, it's a bristle brush. It's not the smoothest finish, and that's okay. That's the look I'm looking for. I'm using it for that certain purpose. The clear coat though, I'm using more of a fine brush. Okay, this is a Zebra. You can get these at Lowe's, Home Depot. Again, other camera view. Very, very fine brush. Very smooth, very flat. That clear coat, I'll do a video with that. You put it on thin. I will probably do 3 coats of clear coat. This is a dining room chair. It is going to get wear and tear. We don't want this finish coming off. Something you have to know about chalk paint is you can reactivate all of the molecules by just spraying some water. The water makes that paint be able to turn again. So you have to clear coat it. There is no, you cannot use chalk paint and then not clear coat. You have to clear coat it, or if you get any water at all on it, it will be diminished. So we will clear coat this. I'll probably put 3 coats on. The clear coat's super simple. You put it on super thin, and I'll do another video of that showing you the clear coat. But as for right now, this is our 1 coat of navy on this dining room chair. We will do a second coat on it off video, and then the next video that we do, we'll probably do tomorrow. We will clear coat. I will show you how to clear coat this bad boy, and then if you want to, you'll be set to go. You can go get your own chalk paint and look at trying to paint your own furniture. Again, if you like the video, please share it out to friends. If you're interested in possibly taking a class at Let's Create Art on how to do furniture, please call us. Let us know in the comments below. And we would love to just kind of spread the idea of painting on furniture. Thanks for watching today. Appreciate it.